And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at Star Trek Galactic Enterprises from WizKids Games. Now, I'm not the biggest Star Trek fan. I think Star Trek is fine. I like watching it as much as the next person, I suppose. I don't know every ins and outs, so if I happen to talk about something Star Trek-y in this video and you're like, what? How come you don't know how to pronounce that? Well, sorry. But I do know this game because this is actually not the first time I've seen this game. This game is a reprint of an older game from Descartes Games, which is called Fantasy Business from the Blue Box line, a game that I still have actually. This is an updating of it, and instead of being different fantasy merchants, now you're the Ferengi, and in fact it says deep down everyone's a Ferengi. You just want some money. This is a mean little game. Let me show you. Okay, so the goal of this game is to get the most latinum here. Yay, money! I like money. And so what you're going to do is each game is going to be 10 rounds, or 8 rounds if you're playing with 7 or 8 players. And in each round, the first thing that will happen is you're going to turn over market cards equal to the number of players. So let's say we're playing a 5-player game, so I would turn over 5 things here. So I have 2 triples of replicator units, power cells, and dilithium crystals. You will also take 1 action card and turn that over. And this is an action card here that has one of the rules of acquisition on it and is a specific action, and you'll put them in front of them. Whoever's first clerk, so one person is the first clerk, they're the person who dealt these cards, they're going to pick one of these cards and put a price on it. So if they pick one of the market cards, they have to start with the value of that market card. So this value card is 6, so they'd have to bid 6. And it just goes around the table. Each person could bid higher or pass, but even if they pass, they can jump back in. However, once everyone has passed, then whoever bid the highest will pay that much and put this card in front of them. That person can no longer participate in any other auctions. If the first clerk did not win the bid, they will pick another card and keep going until they win a card, then someone else, the person next to them, will pick a card. Everybody will have one card. One card itself won't be chosen. So if you get the action card, you can do whatever it says. They will tell you exactly when to play them and what to do with them, and there's all sorts of various action cards that are in the game. They tell you when to play them. Sometimes they'll take a good out of the picture or whatever. Then each person is going to basically do the squeeze. It's called the latinum squeeze phase. And in this, on your paper, each person can have a paper, you're going to write how much you're going to sell any items you have. So for example, if I have only power cells in front of me, I'm going to decide how much to sell power cells for in round 1. I can sell them for a base price of 3. That's the lowest they can be. Or I can go up to double that amount, which would be 6. And I can decide how much to sell them for. So everyone's going to decide. You can also discuss with each other at how much you're going to be selling them for. And then you just read through each list. And if you pick the lowest price, so let's say I'm the only person with power cells and I sell them for 6, I'm going to get 6 for each power cells card I have. If I have power cells and Millie has power cells and she sells hers for 5 and I sell mine for 3, then I'm going to get 3 and she's going to get nothing. Now, if I did mine for 3, she did hers for 5, and Bob did his for 6, which is the maximum price, Bob would get nothing, and me and Millie would get something. Also, whoever does the lowest price gets a bonus of 2 latinium for basically having the lowest price. So if you all agree amongst yourselves that you'll sell them for the highest price, you will get that amount of money plus 2. Hooray! However, if one person undercuts everyone else, they can make everyone else get nothing, and they get the. So you have to talk back and forth amongst yourself. And so as time goes by, and as you add more things, you can see here, for example, this is the end of the game. This is over the course of the game. This person had power cells in turn 1. Then turn 2, they had power cells and pads. Then they got phasers, and then so on and so forth. And so they were writing more and more prices down until they got to the end of the game. After the 10th round, you will take the amount of money you have, plus the value of the cards in front of you are just worth their value. Add those together, and whoever has the most is the winner. Now, There are some variants you can play. You can make things cost more. There's a lot of cards in this deck, and most of them, there are duplicates of all the different cards that are in there. So you might be the only person with phasers, but eventually someone else is going to get phasers. And I said these action cards can do all sorts of things. You can pick one market item with this card that doesn't give income one turn. Or you can pick this one here, choose a market item, that player gets no income from that item type. Or here, this person has to pay you 10 for the protection that round. Or you can pick someone else and look at all the action cards that everyone else has. So these cards are going to have various things, and sometimes getting one of these might be worth it more to you than getting one of these items. Oh, whiz kids. I like this game, but man, this stuff, and this might be legitimate, might be what Latinum looks like, I'm not quite sure, but this just looks like a big mess. I can't tell the different types apart from a distance. We got 1s, 5s, 10s, 20s, and 50s. Not to mention if you're playing with more than 5 players. I say if you're playing with 6 or more players, there simply isn't enough money here. The cards themselves are okay quality. They use stills from the show themselves with the Star Trek motif on them, so that works well. And if there was one thing I did like the rules of acquisition written on them all. I'm not sure how many different rules of acquisition there are. There's a lot of text on these, but they're not that hard, and these sheets work really well. You get a whole pad of sheets, and they are double-sided, so these should last for several games, and if not, I'm sure you can print more out and do them. So overall, the components for the game are decent. I'm not kidding about how mean this game is. If I do top 10 games of meanness, this might be up there, because you will have someone sit there. Okay, so you and me, we both have an item that sells for 5. And I'll say, listen, let's sell this item for 10. We both get 10. Sure, we don't get more than each other, but we're getting more than everyone else at the table. Let's work together. And you agree. And then I write 9. And you get nothing. Now, if that happens, you think you'll trust me the rest of the game? Of course not. But later on in the game, I'll say, listen, I'm really sorry. I really would like to get more money, because now the next turn we both sell them for 5 because neither one of us trusts each other. And we're selling for 5, but we see Judy and Sally are working together and they're getting 10. And we're like, we got to catch up to these guys. All right, listen, I'll do it. And I'm a man of my word. And then you betray me. That is this game in a nutshell. Just constant betrayal, back and forth. Sometimes you can work together, and in fact, you have to be careful, because if some people work together, both of them will do well. But there is one winner in this game, and that's important to know. The game is probably a little longer than it should be. It says play up to 8 rounds with 7 or 8 players. Even with 5 or 6, I would play just 8 rounds. Just a little bit longer. There are some changes from the Fantasy Business game originally. Originally, that one just had some cards. Sometimes it was action cards. Sometimes it was market cards. Here, they're separated out, and I like that better. You can always get a market card if you want to. You're not tied to getting... Sometimes in the original game, you were forced to take action cards, and you didn't want them. Now, action cards are mean and nasty, and you can do all sorts of cool things with them, but they don't take the place of getting that money every turn. Because if you get a card that's worth 4, you are guaranteed to get 4 coins for it every turn. If you get it on turn 1, you're going to get 40 coins from that minimum, right? Unless, of course, you decide to get greedy and want more. So you're doing a little bit of math around the table and everything. I don't care about the Star Trek theme over Fantasy Business. I'm kind of waffling on both. I do wish the components of this one were a little nicer, but this game is surprisingly fun. You need to play with people who can take the abuse and take the back and forth. If you get really irritated about other people stabbing you, that's definitely not for this game, right? And it's going to happen constantly, and sometimes by multiple people. Or maybe it'll be you doing it to others. But for me, this game is not so long that I don't mind it. Like, I'm not a big fan of this stabbing someone in the back over a game that's like 6 hours, like Diplomacy. But in a game that's 30 to 45 minutes, it's hilarious fun. And that's the best descriptor I can give this game. Hilarious fun with a bit of evil thrown in. Dice Tower Judgment, approved!